by taking the structural view, we kind of step away and blame individuals less and look at what are the structural conditions that are driving this kind of behavior and this kind of destruction. And the destruction is really serious. I mean, we are interfacing, is one way of saying it, with the natural world in ways that put us all at risk. We're reducing biodiversity. Biodiversity is a buffer that dampens the spread and the emergence and the spread of zoonotic diseases. And we're also, giving over the natural world to this one industry. Between farming, ranching, and feed crops, the livestock industry gobbles up 40% of the world's habitable surface. I mean, is this what we want to use the earth for? It seems very sad to me. So I think, what this does is it allows this industry to amass an enormous amount of power. And you can't separate that industry's might from sort of the larger changes in the economy through the 20th century to today, right? So Donald Trump, Mia mentioned this, basically, said meat was essential and used the Defense Production Act to force meat packing plants to stay open, despite the fact that this was essentially a death sentence for vulnerable workers, many of them refugees, immigrants, definitely underpaid and abused already. And of course, meat isn't essential. We can live without it. And the workers knew that. The workers actually asked people to boycott. In Iowa, workers said, please, boycott meat. We're being forced to work in these dangerous conditions. And one can imagine, a different set of policy responses, right? I mean, there could be, you can imagine a world where the US government said, okay, actually, let's have some ambition and start encouraging people to eat a more plant-based diet, to farm, just like the victory gardens of World War II, to farm and to eat more plants and to be more self-sufficient. And that's not the world we live in. Instead, Tyson and Smithfield and these, other companies got to sort of, make some phone calls and say, no, keep us open no matter what, even if people die, not to mention those millions and millions of animals that were depopulated. And that tracks with the concentration of corporate power that we're seeing in other sectors, right? In fact, the term chickenization is used by people who work on issues of monopolies and antitrust, because that concentration of there's a few companies, and they essentially basically say, we're not going to compete with each other to control the market. We see that in all sorts of areas of American business. And so the fact that, corporate power in general is becoming more robust is, part of the reason I think that we are now having a even more challenging, the struggle is even more immense if we want to get the kind of policy changes that are important to start to address future pandemics and address climate change, right? And so this is why I think people who care about animal ethics also need to just put the general fight for equality, economic equality, at the center of their politics, right? Because I don't think we're going to get one without the other.